All right, Ian. We have a
scandal.
We have a scandal with surprise mechanics with EA.
Scandal. So big news. Big news in the world of electronic arts and video games.
The world of electronic arts.
And sports.
Literally.
And sports. So earlier this week, it was Eurogamer with the investigative journalism that exposed that
it dropped on the 11th.
Dropped on the 11th. They exposed that there was someone within Electronic Arts basically selling the Ultimate Team cards in FIFA to people for money. So the Ultimate Team, we've talked about basically EA, their sports games. They all have these modes called Ultimate Team that function, that revolve heavily around loot boxes.
Surprise mechanics. Yes.
Surprise mechanics.
You put your money in the machine, and then it's like, well, I open up a card pack and see what's in there. It's fun because
the whole grind is opening up card packs. You get these card packs, and then you can use those players essentially on your Ultimate Teams for online play. So obviously you want to get the best players because the stats do matter in a game like this. You are definitely going to have an edge and have a better chance of winning if you have the better players. So people constantly buy these card packs, etc., try to open them up and get these good players like Zinedine Zidane, Pele, Ronaldinho, Rude Gullit. I don't know that one.
A Rude Gullit.
Ronaldo. So there are icon cards, which are like the most sought after ones. Those are the ones with like the legendary players. And then there are even rarer prime icon moment cards, which are like extra rare special editions of those cards.
Hologram chromium editions of that. Just like we talked about with the NBA.
Right.
What is it? FTFs?
NTFs.
NTFs, yeah. NFTs.
Non-fungible tokens.
Non-fungible tokens, yes. But you can use these, though, to play your game.
Right. So, obviously, obtaining these is a big deal. And
because you're gambling, first of all, to get them in the card packs.
Yeah. So, there is something that can be done from within EA. It's called content granting. EA has currently suspended all discretionary content granting. What this means is giving away stuff for free, basically promoting out items.
Hey, Ian, I want to give this to you for your birthday, this player. Here you go.
Right. So
it's like trading shit. Okay.
Apparently they don't do a whole lot of discretionary content granting, but they do it with these sports games. For instance, if you're an actual sports player,
they give you, here's your card, here's you, or whatever.
Yeah, they'll give you your card. I think as it states here, they'll actually give you like a maxed out stats version of your player, of your card, so you can play it online. Like there's people who have run into like people who actually who play soccer online, and yeah, they'll have
that's pretty funny.
An indestructible version of themselves, essentially. So it was found that people within EA were actually, since they can unlock that stuff on a per account basis, they were accepting payment for these cards, and not a small amount of payment.
So the employee was
either
getting paid money to give these out to people, to random people.
Yeah. So they were
allegedly.
So these would be, what they unlock would be known as untradables. So for instance, that sports player that I was talking about who would have like a 99 maxed out stat version of himself.
That common player that has the super version of himself.
It would be an untradable card, meaning he couldn't put that on the marketplace and send it to
because it's not something you can normally
else.
get. So
right.
So you should. It's locked away.
And because it wasn't in right. So they can also, other content unlockables they can set as untradable. Mm-hmm. So this was the prices that were exposed that people within EA were charging. 1,000 euros for 2 Primetime Moments cards. 1,400 euros for 3 Primetime Moments cards. Or 1,700 for 3 moments plus 2 TOTYS. I don't know what TOTYs. I don't know what that stands for.
Something of the year, maybe.
Yeah. But that's
touch of the year, maybe? Touch of the year?
But that is an insane amount of money to be paying for digital cards to add players to your game.
I was going to say, is if there's not a marketplace for this, then are these people that really want to be that awesome that they're spending this amount of money? their online gaming? They're willing to spend this amount of money?
I guess.
Like, if it's not a non-fungible token NFT that you can't like put in the marketplace, and why are you spending this amount of money? You have that much money to burn with this? That's what I can think of. Unless can you trade these cards on the marketplace? These FIFA cards that you get?
So there is some sort of marketplace available, but I don't know how it operates, to be perfectly honest with you.
Because that makes more sense to me. So it's like selling a rare baseball card to me, but I know the person inside Topps that made it.
Right.
And they maybe they say they made like 10 hologram Tom Brady cards for this year.
They pull one off the line before and
we have the insights. That's what it more sounds like to me. I can't picture someone spending $2,000 to make their game better. Like, you must be an insane person, or have that much money to burn. Either way, though, obviously this is really alarming that someone had this sort of content and wasn't tracked. This was happening. It didn't like set off a flag somewhere that, oh, hey, this employee or two, all of a sudden we see these transactions go through, we see these cards moving through the system. There was no alarm bells being set off for this.
TOTY is Team of the Year player. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was almost right. There's a good touch in soccer. It means like good little pass or little kick. I almost hit the reset button on that.
So yeah, this is nuts. And EA has said, I'm trying to find the statement.
EA called it a breach of fair play principles, and we won't let it stand. That's what they said. EA explained this content granting process, which players are legitimately awarded in-game FUT items. The most common uses of this granting process are as make goods for in-game technical issues or accidental content deletion by issues. So if I get something deleted, you can give me back the shit I got too. So that's a use of it in the system. Say something about my account, it gets corrupted or whatever, and I had some rare cards. They can create them again, I guess.
Right, exactly.
That makes sense.
So, but EA, it's just, what comes out of EA's mouth is absolutely ridiculous. The alleged behavior is unacceptable, and in no way do we condone granting or purchasing player items in exchange for money. This practice runs counter to the game's competitive integrity.
Oh, give me a break.
Is a violation of EA's user agreement, and is not something we tolerate.
So they create.
We do not allow the trade or sale of items outside our game for many reasons, including that it would create an unequal playing field for our community. Your entire game mode revolves around creating an unequal playing field. You sons of bitches.
Yeah, you created the environment, and now this is the natural.
This is a direct response to what you created.
You made a marketplace, and you have these rare cards for these players to be used, and now you're surprised that people are grifting off of it and taking advantage of this system that you have in place.
I coated myself in barbecue sauce and wrestled with a lion and got my arm bitten off. Couldn't have seen that coming.
Maybe you just had the little lick here or two, the little sandpaper tongue. That's a big sandpaper tongue on a tiger or a lion. Anyway, let's see what they sell here as well. I had a quote here ready to go. We are committed to continuing our work in positive play through actions that make our communities fair, safe, and everyone. Oh, that's another story where they're doing more to tackle racist content in FIFA 21. We can talk about that a little bit if we want to. Our initial investigation shows questionable activity involving a very small number of accounts and items. Very small. When our investigation is completed, we will take action against any employee found to have been engaging in this activity. Any items granted through this illicit, I love that word, illicit activity will be removed from the FUT ecosystem, and EA will permanently ban any player known to have acquired content through these means. Well, if they could have resold that, though, or regifted it in any way, then the damage has been done. And then it's really all about firing the employee. And then if there's anything done illegally by law, I don't know. But either way, that's not good. I just don't see how there's no fail-safe for this. They have to see stuff like this as a potential.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
giving out rare cards or cards created from scratch to random people. Like, there's no fail-safe. There's an approval process. Okay, I'm giving out these cards. Here's a guy who. Here's your guy.
Or there might be, but like, I mean, how low down the chain of command is it? You know,
that's what I mean. So yeah. I mean, obviously, if you want to make this extra money like this, or willing to risk getting fired from your job for selling these as an employee, then that's really down low. Like, it sounds to me, without knowing more, that more than a few people could have accessed this.
Right.
If they're trying to hunt down who did this. This was available to a lot of lower level employees that should not have been. You know, how often do you have to do this? Give these out to people. Like, this isn't something you have to do every day. Potentially, this is weird with this content granting process. Yeah, Well, there you go. Let's talk about EA tackling racist content, because that's another article just came out like today. They issued a lifetime ban to a FIFA Ultimate Team player who racially abused Arsenal football player legend Ian Wright on social media. Oh yeah, I saw about that. So there was someone that was just an online player who he basically went off on a real football player that existed, like, for some reason. And it's like, why would you do that? You don't think EA is gonna respond to that? Like what the hell is wrong with you? And this happened with the NBA player. Well, he on Twitch he made anti-Semitic comments, but this stuff is no longer tolerated. You can't do this shit.
Consequences. Anymore. I love to see him.
Myers Leonard on the Heat was on a stream and had a quote unquote heated gaming moment, and now he might have thrown away his NBA career, a career where he's making several $1 million a year. His contract's coming up, and he might not be able to get signed again because of this. You know, like what the fuck are you thinking? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you fucking doing? So anyway, yeah, that just came out today. I just saw the article. So yeah, it's not shocking, but like, this happens. We see this more and more with like people that are like professional gamers that get thrown out their teams. I think I saw one that happened last week or two. Something like that happened. Someone got tossed off their team. I forget what it was for, but it's like, you know, just don't be a dick. That's the rule, right?
Yeah.
Just don't be a dick. Yeah, we didn't talk about the Myers Leonard thing, I think, last week.
No, we didn't.
Didn't really, because it was unbelievable it happened. And here's what I'm going to say real quick about if you're a professional sports person. I understand you can do whatever you want. If you're making $10 million a year playing basketball, like what? I'm not going on Twitch to get tips from people. Like, it's not worth my time anymore to do that shit, or to, like, why would you even, if there's a 1% chance of something weird happening like what happened with Myers Leonard, don't throw away everything. Like, don't even, not saying it's right, it's obviously not right what he did, but like, I'm not saying there's even 1% chance that you would say something horrible, but like, don't even put yourself in weird situations like, or that could happen like that. It doesn't make any sense to me when I see stuff like this happen. It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes sense.
I think the Leonard thing happened after last.
It happened in between?
I think it happened in between, yeah.
Yeah, he was a player on the Heat. You know, he was a, you know, sort of a reserve player. You know, but he wasn't a nobody. He's been in the league for like 6-7 years.
Right.
He may never play in the NBA again, potentially. You know.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, then he said, oh, I didn't know what the word meant. It's like, wow, that term is an oldie time fucking term that, like, how do you know that term exists, first of all, and if you don't know what it means? It's such a weird thing. It's like a term. I heard that term last, you know, watching the Porky's movie. Last time I heard that term. You know, like, that's a, you know, it's ridiculous. Anyways. Sorry, anything else to add here about the card packs thing? The surprise mechanics?
No.
No more on the surprise mechanics?
No more.
Okay.
Moving on.